One of the most sought after pieces of cast and crew memorabilia is the Knight Shield crew hat, given to all members of the Knight Rider family during the filming of the series. Now available for the first time is this authentic replica of those famous crew hats. We copied both the look, feel, and texture of those original hats, starting with a black mesh trucker's hat, a puffy, which is very 80s, a puffy foam black fabric on the front and on the bill, and a metallic gold stitching of the unique Knight Rider chest piece and logo. But we didn't stop there. Some of those original crew hats were adorned with gold metallic iron-on patches called scrambled eggs that are affixed to the bill. So, you'll receive a set of these patches that you can iron on if you so desire, or leave them off for a more simple look. Ironing them on takes only seconds. We have very limited quantities and we won't be making any more, so get yours now at knightriderhistorians.com. Greetings, it's your friendly neighborhood historian here. It's probably time to talk about the semi again. It's been a few weeks, and there's a very good reason why it's been a few weeks. I've mentioned in previous videos that the next step that I want to accomplish in here is finishing out the lounge, building the cabinetry. But I quickly realized that I had a problem before I could start building the cabinetry. And that problem is I didn't have any space to build it. So many of you guys know who've been following the channel, I've built a new garage, but the storage area that I had planned in the garage was not quite finished yet. My workshop where I would build the cabinets was completely jam-packed. It actually looked like an episode of Hoarders. It was bad. I'm a little embarrassed by it. So in order for me to move forward with the stuff I wanted to do in the semi, I had to do a couple other things first in a certain order. All right. So all that to say, there's not a ton that's different in the semi. I did start on a few things, and I'm going to tell you about the first cabinet that we're going to build and show you the blueprints for it, the original studio blueprints that we were fortunate enough to get. So we know how to build it, we know what it looks like. So we're going to show you that, and I need your help finding the correct winch for the back of the trailer and a few other things. So with all that said, it's time for another semi update video. Hey folks, so before we begin, I wanted to put a call out to all of you wonderful people. There's a couple things that we, the Knight Rider historians, are always on the lookout for. So I thought, well, let's just take 2 seconds, put it out here, and see if maybe someone out there has any of this stuff. And if so, we would love to talk to you. So for those of you guys who have been following the channel for any length of time, you know how detailed I am regarding the various Trans Ams that were used as kit throughout the course of the series. I've done extensive research on this over the last 25 years, and I have what's probably the most complete archive of the cars that were used in the show. And I'm not talking about necessarily like the VINs of the cars, although we do have quite a few of those, but like what cars were used in what episodes, in what capacity, different things like that. And there's a couple ways we determine how, what car was used. First of all, by watching the show, looking at specific scenes, no two Knight Rider kit cars were identical. Just like I always say, it's just like a thumbprint. No two are identical. So that's been a huge help. But the other piece of it that has been a huge help as well are these. These are production call sheets, okay? So for each filming day of the show, one of these call sheets was given out to cast and crew so they knew who needed to be on set, what, like the sound, special photography, technical locations, what scenes they're shooting. I mean, this was the guide for the cast and crew for specific filming days. Now, I can tell you that Knight Rider, over the course of 4 years, filmed 691 days. I know that's a crazy fact, but in that 4 years, 691 days were used for filming. Most episodes were about a 7-day shoot. A couple were 6, a couple were 8. The 2-hour ones were longer, obviously. The record for the longest episode it took to film, I'm not going to tell you what it is. Put it down in the comments and we'll see if you're right. What episode took the longest to film? Okay, so these call sheets have been invaluable to us. And over the last 25 years, we've anytime we talk to a cast or crew member, we always say, do you still have your call sheets? And we've amassed call sheets for like 75% of the episodes. Now, each episode has a call sheet for each day. So there's, not every episode we have all the call sheets for, but we have a sampling from 75% of the episodes. So I guess this is longer than 2 seconds, but we're looking for more call sheets. Specifically season 1 and the first 6 episodes filmed of season 2, which was, Return to Cadiz, Merchants of Death, Big Iron, Brother's Keeper, Ring of Fire. Which one am I missing? I think one more, wait. Return to Cadiz, Merchants of Death, Big Iron, Ring of Fire. Yeah, I'm missing one. Okay, but if any of you guys out there have any call sheets or know someone that worked on the show that has call sheets, send us an email at knightriderhistorians@gmail.com. We don't even necessarily need the originals, although if you're interested in getting rid of them, let us know. But even scans of the front and the back of the call sheets. The call sheets specify, I didn't mention this, but the call sheets specify which car was on set for that particular day. Or which one was scheduled to be on set, I should say. There's also what's called daily production reports, and that's at the end of that filming day, and that says what cars were actually on the set. Those are even much harder to find, but we'll settle for call sheets. Okay, and then lastly, if any of you guys out there have any old recordings of the show from either NBC during its run on NBC or WWOR from, it was probably 1988 through 1990. Let us know. We would love to borrow those tapes and digitize them and get them back to you. So knightriderhistorians@gmail.com. Thank you guys so much. All right, let's get going. All right, we're going to start by plugging in the lounge in there. So we have some light. Light is always better than darkness. So let's go ahead in and give you a little update here. All right, so first of all, the door here. I did kind of pause work on the door. There's a few things I'm not completely happy with on the door, so I kind of paused it because I was getting a little frustrated with it. I know what I need to do, but I just needed to step away for a little bit. But overall, very happy. Just Need to work on the gap there. Now, again, I mentioned this in a previous video, but the light you see around there is because the inner jamb is not there yet in the inner part of the door. Once that's in, that'll block all of that light, so that will not be an issue. But there's just a few other little fitment things that I want to take care of. I did start the wiring and the electrical. So you can see here, we've got our very first outlet in. Now, that's for the boomerang unit that sits right here. That you won't see that once the boomerang unit is sitting here. I've mentioned in the past how the trailer is smaller than the set was, so I have to shrink a few things. I could not shrink the door. The door is only 2 feet wide originally as it was designed on the set. I couldn't shrink it because that is tight enough to get into. I didn't want to make it any smaller. What I did is I took a little bit of the space away right here, and the boomerang unit, I'm gonna have to shrink 3 inches off the width, but I think I have a plan so I can do it without, and you probably won't even notice once it's all said and done. So, so that's what's gonna go there. So I'm gonna move my door stop here because I don't have the latch in yet. So you can see here, I guess I do have I forgot I did install that, but this is all still hollow. I haven't done anything more on this. Like I said, I'm going to wait a little bit, but overall, I'm pleased with how it turned out. This turned out to be one of the more difficult things in this project. So let's head in here and show you where things are at so far. So just very rough start on the electrical. I thought I did end up reusing, I didn't reuse any wire. I wanted all new wire, but I did reuse this metal sheathing. This was in the trailer, all throughout the trailer to run all of the electrical. And I saved it. And I thought, well, that it's kind of neat to put up some pieces of the trailer as it was when it was a funny car hauler, put them back in here. So this is reused. Some of the junction boxes, this one's or not the outlet boxes, this one's reused. This one's coming off, this is a junk one, and it's going to be replaced with another metal one that will match that. So right there will be the light switch. It's a black light switch with a metal faceplate. So that'll be the switch you'll turn on. And so the way I have the lights run, which I again showed you in a previous video, is I have the banks of lights. So we have the lounge here, you've got the office and the garage, and each one I wired pigtails onto each light, and then they all plug into a very heavy duty power strip. All right, so if one burns out or any needs replaced, you can just unplug it, be real easy. So the way this is going to work, so this is the outlet for all, or the surge protector for these lights up here. So this switch right here is going to control this outlet. So that'll provide power to that outlet, and then this is going to be plugged into there, and that's how the lights will turn on. So that's the back side of the outlet for the boomerang unit, and then this is a double gang outlet. So this is a black switch with a metal plate. These are almond colored outlets with a metal plate that go there. And then of course there's the lower cabinet here and upper cabinet here. But what I am going to build first, well not first, I built that first, but what I'm going to build next is the cabinet that sits up here. Now, we see on screenshots, when you look at it on screenshots, the cabinet looks like it's almost a rectangular box with like a bulge out in the front. But that is not how it was actually built. And I'll take you here in a little bit and show you the original blueprints of how that one was built, but it's actually going to be possibly even simpler than that. This stove is 30 inches wide. The cabinet that goes up here is actually 32 inches wide. It overhangs here a little bit because the cabinets that go on this wall they come out, but they don't come out the whole way to this stove. They come out to like right here, so that's why that goes longer, and it all makes sense. At least on paper it makes sense, and screenshots. We'll see if we can replicate it here. But the cabinet will be tied in, so this one is gonna be great because we'll be able to tie it into this wall, tie it into that wall, and we'll tie it into the metal vertical E-track here. So you'll be able to hang off that one when I'm done. Now, going back to our electrical, really all you see in the show in terms of switches and outlets is that switch and that double outlet there. There's really no others. Now, of course, we're going to provide power to the stove, but this stove is interesting. The power cord and everything is not in the back. It's actually in the side here, in this side down here. So if you recall on a previous video, when I built this, I actually put an access door down here. In fact, I think I can show you. Oops, let me move this. Yeah, there you go. See how there's an access door there? So all of the wiring, like here's the wiring, and then there's another plug right there. So one's for the fridge, one is for the two burners there. But we're going to put an outlet back in there, so we'll be able to plug all of this in to make that work. And then on this back wall, there are two spotlights right about there. So we're going to have to provide power to those and a switch. And the switch is going to have to be hidden because it didn't have a switch on set. So either that or we tie it into these lights. So when you turn this switch on, these lights come on and the spotlights, which we may do because honestly, anytime you saw in here, these lights were on and the spotlights were on. So we might just tie it all into one circuit. We're not going to put any additional outlets, no outlets on this wall. This room is small enough that, you know, to plug in a vacuum, you can plug it in there or whatever else you need. Well, I shouldn't say that. I may throw a hidden outlet down in there. Now that I think about it, I probably will because, see, I'm changing my mind already. Because this sofa bed here, you know, if it's actually used as a sofa bed, it might be nice over there. It might be nice to turn the overhead lights off and then have a little nightstand over there with a light. I don't know. There is a table that goes in here as well. So, yeah. So that's where we're at here, but here, we'll go back out here. Like I said, this is 2 feet wide, only 6 feet tall, and I am taller than 6 feet, so. As you can see, the weather has changed here. It's getting colder. Winter will be here, oh, before you know it. So I'm trying to set myself up so I can spend the winter actually not working in here specifically, but in my workshop. I mean, I still will work in here, but for the most part, I'd like to be in my workshop where I have heat and all that stuff. So let's unplug that. All right. All right, we pause our regularly scheduled programming to bring you quite a few Knight Rider questions that we've had posed to us either through our Patreon community or through our new Discord community. So super quick, we have a Patreon community that you can join. There's hundreds of people in that community. You get early access to all of our videos, exclusive photos and videos. We are working to release our giant tens of thousands of file archive. We're slowly releasing pieces of that to our Patreon supporters and to our VIP Discord members. So if you're interested in either one of those, the Patreon link is down in the description below. The Discord, you can get more information on knightriderhistorians.com, or you can email us, knightriderhistorians@gmail.com. All right, so here are some of our Knight Rider questions. There's some good ones in here. I think you guys are gonna like them. Okay, this is from theknightrider.ch. You recently made a video about the tow bars on the Knight Rider cars, and it got me thinking. I own a kit myself, and my mechanic told me if there's something wrong with it, I should always have it put on a flatbed, never tow it in neutral because the transmission isn't cooled when the engine is off. So did they actually leave the engines running when towing the cars on the show, or did they just not care and replace the transmissions if they got damaged? And then part 2 of the question is, do the screen use cars still have their original transmissions? Fantastic question, because when I first started to drive, I heard this same advice. Rear-wheel drive cars, when they're towed, they should never be, the front half should never be lifted and towed on the rear wheels for that exact same reason. I don't know if the cars were running. My guess is probably yes. I could be wrong. My guess is they probably had the cars running and put in neutral. I'm just thinking, you know, if they have a camera truck pulling the car, they probably want the camera or the kit car running for the power steering, maybe, because they do go around a lot of turns, and I would think that would be easier when they're towing if the power steering was working. It would make it easier for them to turn the camera truck and have kit turn with it. I don't know for sure, but I also heard that same advice, like I said. So my guess is they probably were running, never been able to confirm that though. Do the screen use cars still have their original transmissions? Yes and no, because most of the cars got replacement transmissions standard from as soon as they became kit cars. Most of them lost their transmission. So 1982 Trans Ams came with the 200C 3-speed automatic transmission, and then 83s and 84s were the 700R4 4-speed automatic transmission with overdrive. So of the surviving cars, the one we have, well, we have 2 here. The one we have, which was in the Peterson, still has its original 200C transmission, which I'm shocked at, because our other car, plus the original season 3 and 4 Hero car, plus the right-hand blind drive car, those cars all have replacement turbo 350, TH350 transmissions. And we heard that they swapped all of the cars for that TH350 just as a matter of practice, because those were built stronger, more bulletproof than the factory GM cars. But like I said, our one kit has its original transmission in it. So there you go. All right, M. Night Poland. This question came in via Discord. I recently watched Perifractic's retro recipes videos. Perifractic purchased a replica kit from the UK and shows his progress with the car's restoration in the videos. I also saw that he and AJ were at the Peterson to see the original kit. I have a question because in the last video, you can see that Perry added T-tops and air conditioning, and the front end looks just like the original kit that we have. Did Perifractic buy the original front bumper mold from you from the Hoffnose? No. So I'm not sure which car you're talking about, because Perry is a friend of ours, a good friend of ours from the channel, and he had 2 kit cars. He had an original one, which I think came from the UK, and I think that was the one that had a hard top where he added fake T-top strips maybe and air conditioning. But I think he got rid of that car because he got another replica car, and the other replica car, the one that you're saying has the original front bumper mold from the Hoffnose, it does have that. But those are 2 totally different cars that you're talking about, I think, in your question. The second car, the reason it has the original front bumper mold from the Hoffnose is because I built that car. I built it back in 2015, and I used a copy of the Hoffnose. I think did I put a clear windshield in it? It's the most accurate season 2 hero car replica ever created. And I built it over the course of a year and a half or 2 years. And then once I was done with it, I'm like, okay. And then I sold it. And it went to another owner, and then he owned it for a number of years, and then Perry bought it maybe 2 years ago. So, yeah, so he does have the bumper on that car is copied from an original. All right, Viper AU from Discord. During the episodes of Knight Rider, we never actually see the inside section of the submarine door. So as a safety precaution, will you be installing an internal mechanism so people are not accidentally locked inside the lounge area? Well, that's something I hadn't thought about. We do see the inside of the door when it's open. Like from the office area, you can see sometimes the doors is open and you can see the other side of it. But that lock that's on the outside, there's really no safeguard that I can think of that would work there. So yeah, we'll have to come up with something. We don't want Garth Knight coming in and locking us in the lounge. That didn't go well last time. With the ramp set up, we all know that the outside of these trailer doors will be fake with just decoration to make them look like swing open doors. Could you, where are my questions? Oh, print on the back. Could you please do a video explaining how these external decorations will be installed and what steps will be taken to protect them from being scratched every time the ramp is lowered to the ground? So if you hang on 1 second there, that is a perfect question because, I actually have right here the correct hardware, the exact model hardware that they used. There's 2 heavy bags of this for that back door. So it'll all be screwed onto the door. It'll look like it looked like back then. You'll have to remember they won't be scratched when the ramp is lowered to the ground because the ramp comes down, but then you have the ramp extensions that come out. So the only part of the door that hits the ground is that ramp extensions piece, not the door itself. So that hardware should be just fine. Another question from Viper AU. Now that the sleeper cab is secured to the GMC tractor, will the inside of this sleeper section be fully decked out with a comfy bed, air conditioning, carpet, blah, 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 so that when you're out on the road, you have somewhere to sleep and relax? Do you have any cool designs? Would you be open to allowing the Knight Foundation trustees to throw forward suggestions or ideas and vote for the best design? I think it's a great idea. The inside of the sleeper will be decked out. That is the absolute lowest priority of this entire project. We are going to finish off the semi, the interior, get it painted, get the ramp finished, everything else. The finishing of the sleeper will be much, much later. But I do like the idea of being able to have you guys maybe design it. We can vote on it. So when the time comes, maybe we'll go down that route. Great question. Could you please give us a recap on all the accessory items you were chasing for the office and lounge? Yes, I can do that. It's been a couple years. We have like 95% of what we need for the interior. So I'll put that on my list. We'll do an update. Maybe we can find those last few pieces. That'd be awesome. And then final questions, again from M. Night Poland via Discord. Let's see, regarding the car from the Peterson, I remember when it was for sale at a dealership, it didn't have fog lights and it had a different monitors installed. And for what I understand, they worked. The rear camera was probably connected to one monitor. Why did you change the monitors? Because they were incorrect and they were not original. They were added in 2004. They were the wrong model. The bezel was wrong. Everything was wrong. So our goal was to take it back to what it was. So now it has correct TVs in, correct bezel, stuff like that. They don't currently function. We're hoping to make them function as soon as I have time. You're right. The car did not have fog lights. The fog lights had been removed at some point between the time the show ended and when we got the car. But the holes, all the mounting holes were still there for the fog lights. So we put the correct models back in and even the fog light wiring was all still there. It was just cut off. So we just had to splice into that and everything was good. And why did you change the lower console in that car? It was designed after Chaffee season 1. Now it has a Carl Casper lower console bezel in it. Is it a replica? No, it's not a replica. It's actually the original one that Carl built in 1987. The Chaffee designed one that was in there was similar, but it was way off. Everything was it was giant. It was too big. So we took that out and put the original Carl Casper one in there for now. So, all right, guys, that's all the questions we have for today. If you ever have any questions, if you're a Patreon supporter or a Discord member, submit your questions. We'll answer them on a future video. Thank you guys so much, and let's get back to it. All right, so next up, I want to show you the back of the semi-trailer. The only thing that's changed on it is it all got primered. So it was all bare metal. It all got primered. Zach, our fabricator extraordinaire, who's building the ramp extensions, has them nearly complete, and they should be installed here in the next couple of weeks. So that'll be exciting. But before they can get installed, we need to figure out this winch that goes under here. So let me give you guys a little refresher here. So we are dead center in the back of the trailer. If we look under here, see this mount right here? The secondary winch that controls the ramp extensions mounts upside down to that panel, okay? Now, the winch cable comes out of this hole. Comes out of this hole, goes in inside the door, and then controls the ramp extensions. Now, the plate is right here. The opening's right there. This is how it was on the show. This is exactly where it was on the show. That's exactly where the plate is. In fact, the original, that plate is new, but you can see where they cut off the original mount, the original winch mount plate under there. So what I am looking for is a winch. We need just a 1/4 inch steel rope on the winch, but it's got to be the body of the winch, the motor of the winch is here, and the spool is off to the side. I can't seem to find exactly that. And on top of that, I would love to find a vintage one, because unlike the motor that's on the inside that controls the main ramp door, this one will be visible. So I would love to find an older one, even if it needs some refurbishment. But the problem is it's got to have the body, the motor here, and the spool off to the side so it can come out here. I did save a couple winches that were that were in use in here. I think they're in here. I haven't looked in here in forever. Some extra cables. No, maybe they're over here. No, they must be over here. So let's see what we have here. So see that winch, which is in pretty rough shape. See, the mount and the spool are in the same location, and you have the motor off to the side. So I need like the opposite of that, right? I need the motor here and the spool off to the side. And I think the same thing is true. That one's a little bit better. That one's kind of off to the side. But that one I might be able to make work. I don't know. Super winch. I don't even know if those work, to be honest with you. And you know what I just thought of? You know what I should do? Where is it? Right here. So this is the breaker panel that was in the semi. In this trailer. Is the breaker panel that was in this trailer when it was a race car hauler. And it'd be kind of neat to reuse that. So let me see here what condition it's in, because it's been sitting in here for a year or so. I don't even remember. The reason I thought it'd be neat to use is because it's upside down. Because the previous people drew a picture of the semi in there. Wonder what kind of breakers this uses. That's tempting. I'm gonna think about that. I might reuse that just for nostalgia's sake. Get it cleaned up. Keep the drawing of the semi that someone did in there. That could be pretty neat. But for now, we'll just... actually, I'm not going to toss it back in here now. I'm going to take it with me, do some research, and see if we want to reuse this. Okay. All right, so that's what we're looking for. A winch. And this is probably, I don't have a measuring tape here, but if the center is right here, I mean, if you had a motor that's here and the spool here, I mean, you're looking a good 10 inches off to the side or more. I mean, the spool doesn't have to come all the way to here. Just, it can even come out a little bit. Well, you probably don't want it to come out crooked, because then when you retract the wire, it won't reel up properly. So you guys work your magic. Let me know what you can find there. All right, so like I said, in order to make room for the cabinetry building, I had to move a bunch of stuff out of that workshop right there. And in order to do that, I first had to build some storage in my new garage. So I'll just show you that, because I think you guys will really like it, and show you kind of what my plans are here. So let's spin you around. So there we go. We've got our two kit cars. Couple interesting side notes. First of all, look at this. These are original Goodyear Eagle GTs from 1982 with only they came off a car with 9,000 original miles. They still have nearly all of their tread. They're not cracked at all. Guess where I want these to end up? Yeah, on this car. Normally I don't condone, putting 43-year-old tires on a car, but these cars don't see street use, so it's purely for looks only. All right, so let me show you what I've been up to. So in my new garage, I've been building a couple rooms and a storage loft up there. So there's enough parts up there probably to build 3 or 4 Trans Ams. It doesn't look it from here, but there's actually a walkway in the middle. I can't stand up straight there. I have to hunch over, but there's a walkway in the middle all the way back. So, you've got rims and there's seats up there and 6 fenders and bumpers and headliners and 3 sets of tan plastic panels, all kinds of goodies up there. And I'm finally putting my sign collection to good use. This is just the tip of the iceberg here. But this is still a work in progress. I had to build this to build the loft to get all the stuff out of there. But yeah, this is going to be a magical place. And you'll see more of this in the future. Oh, by the way, you guys remember the flagship replica we're building? We're going to build, the 82 Trans Am we got. This is the front nose from that car. We're putting a different nose on it. So if anyone is interested in acquiring this nose, it's in excellent shape. There's no cracks. Comes with the fog light grills, the blackouts there. Really a nice piece. If you're interested, knightriderhistorians@gmail.com. Let's talk. I think I also have in here a set of... It's amazing the stuff you find. So this is a set of rear seat backs recovered in the tan velour. There we go. So those I don't think I need either. All right. And while I was up... It's amazing, again, the amazing stuff you find. These are the original fenders for this kit. When we got this kit, as you can see, it was in rough shape. This is all dented in. Lots of creases, lots of dents. This one's worse than the other one. This is the main part that's real bad. The other fender has some dents, but is salvageable. My goal ultimately is to get at least this fender back on the car. I'd love to find a way to get both fenders on, but this one might be too far gone. But the reason I like it is because it has all of its original paint. It still has the rivets that the stunt crew used to rivet on the air extractors, so they wouldn't fall off. And yeah, just a neat piece of history, but we'll see if we can ever get these back on the car. All right, so I am here in my other garage and wanted to show you the amazing thing that I've been working on for the semi in my workshop. Why do I have this car as a backdrop? I don't know. This is a stock 84 Trans Am that I'm restoring, a very special car, which I'll show you here, maybe in a future video. It's all ready to go, just pretty much needs painted. So, but that's a story for another day. Let me take you back and show you what I've been working on. All right, so I've shown you in previous videos some of the work that I've done on the lounge, and I built that one cabinet in the corner with the phone in it, and that turned out really nice. So I've decided to try my hand at another cabinet in the semi. I had reached out to some local woodworkers to get quotes on getting the cabinets built. They were way too expensive. They were out of our budget. So, you know, I do what I do whenever stuff like that happens, is I just do it myself. I was fortunate enough to grow up with a dad who was an incredible woodworker, so I learned a lot just watching him over pretty much my entire life. So we'll put some of those observations to the test here and see if we can build anything that's remotely that remotely looks like what we see on the show. Anyways, all right, so what I want to show you first is the first cabinet I'm going to tackle is one of the ones in the lounge, one of the ones up high, this one. And you see it right behind Bonnie's head here. It's this kind of a curved cabinet with little ends that jut out, it looks like. Now, I mentioned to you that we were fortunate enough to acquire the original blueprints that the studio created to build these sets. So because of that, I can build these pieces like exactly the way they were built back in 1983. That's when those ones were built. So the first, before I show you kind of what I've put together so far, let me show you the blueprint. So this is a printout of the blueprint, and this is the cabinet we're talking about here. So it's right above the sink, and you can see here the sink is about 30 inches wide, but this cabinet is a little bit wider. You can see how it sticks out a little bit right there. But look at what we're seeing here. This cabinet is actually not like a rectangle with some curved pieces here, but it's actually a big, almost an oval, and then there's these little pieces of wood that jut out on the side. And you can see here the dash line are the timbre doors that go on a track and roll back to open the door. You never see the doors really, most of the time they're closed. There's a couple episodes you see them cracked open a little bit, but this is what we're going to build. And like I said, because of this, we have all the measurements and we have wonderful screenshots. So this is really going to help inform us as to what we need to build. Now, fast forward, and I've already built it. It's not done yet. It's what I'm going to show you. It's just mocked up. Nothing is glued together yet. Nothing is sanded. Still have ways to go. So this is a very rough mock-up. But are you ready? Here is that cabinet. What do you guys think? Isn't that awesome? So this is built to the exact dimensions. I routed a groove in here for the doors to open and close, and they do. I can't do it right now one-handed because, like I said, this is just sitting on here. Actually the top is not even in the track. The bottom is currently. But these do open and close, and these are the handles that will get glued in right there. And these can open the entire way on both sides. So I still have, like I said, I have to do the sanding on all of the edges. I bought a biscuit joiner to do all of the bonding of all the pieces to make sure that they are nice and tight and they can withstand, being in the trailer and going down the road. And then I bought, it's right here. This is black edge veneer, 1.5 inch width. So the black that you see here is a veneer that once I get this all sanded and glued needs to go around all these edges to finish it off. But what do you guys think? I'm excited. This really, really turned out nice so far. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, I can't open these right now, but trust me, they do. And the other reason is I have to put in, they open, but there's obviously resistance because it's just wood on wood. So I'm going to get some, I've read paraffin wax is something good, put down in these grooves, and then that should make those doors open and close real nice. So this cabinet, this is all 3/4 inch oak plywood. This cabinet minus the cost of the timbre. This cabinet costs about $100 to make, and mainly because the oak timbers, the 3/4 inch oak plywood sheets are kind of expensive. So what we're gonna do is, in the past we've done your chance to adopt. I think we did adopt a wall panel, adopt a light. In the semi, and you guys came through, and I just wanted to let you know that those of you who did donate for a wall panel and donate for a light panel, your names are still going to be put on there. We're doing all of the names and the donation plaque. That's all going to be done at the end. But we're going to do something else. We're going to do adopt a cabinet. So on this graphic here, you'll see the various cabinets and what our estimated cost is for each piece of the cabinet. So if you want to adopt a cabinet, reach out to us at knightriderhistorians@gmail.com. And what that will do is you can adopt the cabinet, and you'll get your name in a plaque on the inside of the cabinet, and it'll be there for all of time. So if you're interested in the adopt a cabinet, let's see if we can raise enough money to get all of the cabinets built. That would be absolutely incredible.
Hello friends, it's me, Kit. When I'm not out fighting crime, I like to follow my friends at knightriderhistorians.com. Check it out.